What's good, everyone? OJ here. We've got a bunch of massive Nintendo Switch news and information that just dropped. So let's go ahead and jump right into it here. We're going to start off with IO Interactive and a game that's actually gotten a lot of, I would say, buzz on Nintendo's social media that it's coming over, and that is 007 First Light. This is the first true blue 007 game that we've had, I think, in like a decade plus. And of course, Nintendo fans remember the beginning, well, not the true beginning, but where it really got going when it comes to the 007 games with GoldenEye on the N64. So a lot of views on Nintendo's official page for the First Light trailer, and IO Interactive, who also does Hitman on the Nintendo Switch 2 multi-platform, they've spoke about how they got the game on the Nintendo Switch 2 and how it was really easy for them with their incredible Glacier engine. So let's go ahead and jump into what one of the developers had to say recently about 007 First Light. Quote, "First of all, we have an amazing engine, the Glacier engine, and one of its strengths and why we love to keep using it at IO Interactive, it's that it enables us to bring a game to as many platforms as possible with limited friction. So in that aspect, it's quite easy for us, as long as there is a new platform coming out to bring a game on it. And as far as Switch 2 goes, Nintendo has always been a great partner with us. We have brought Hitman as a cloud version on the first Switch. And now the Switch 2 is a powerful device, powerful enough for us to bring First Light to it natively." Now, they also spoke about Hitman and the performance issues on there when it comes to the Switch 2, and they did state that they have their teams working on it, so look out for something in the future. They are going to be doing some patches to help the performance with that game, as they were kind of learning on the fly with the Nintendo Switch 2 hardware. But let's kind of circle back to 007 First Light, because I think that this game is very interesting. I'm so happy, and I'm so much more interested in this game now at this point, because it's a third-person shooter. It is not a first-person shooter like GoldenEye and like a lot of the other 007 games, so that makes me more excited and interested in it. I don't have anything particularly against first-person games. I just get nauseous when I play first-person games. So if a game can be in third person, it's better for me. Even a game like Metroid Prime gets me a bit nauseous, where I have to take constant breaks or Dramamine or something else to make sure that I don't get a little dizzy or nauseous while playing. So I'm very happy that 007 First Light is going to be a third-person game. And I'll also say this, I think that it's really cool, this Glacier engine. It seems like it's a really cool, adaptable engine to where they can bring over a lot of different games to a lot of platforms, to where their games can run well, like on Steam Deck or other portable PCs. Of course, the Nintendo Switch 2 custom hardware on certain lower level PCs overall, or even Xbox Series S, PlayStation 5 Pro. This is kind of how game development is going forward with the age of portable PCs, in addition to the popularity that the Nintendo Switch 1 brought to the table, and now the Nintendo Switch 2 is running with. So I absolutely see that with the game. 007 First Light looks incredible. Looks like it's going to be able to scale up if you're playing on a PlayStation 5 Pro, but then also kind of even out if you're on an Xbox Series S or a Nintendo Switch 2. So I'm looking forward to seeing exactly how they're going to take advantage of the platform with HD Rumble and different things. And honestly, it's good to hear that this Glacier engine, they're able to bring so many different types of games, so we can kind of lean on that to get support on the Nintendo Switch 2 once they move to the next thing, or when the next big 007 game comes out. And 007 First Light looks great from what they've shown. The little bits of gameplay that we've gotten so far in there, they've got some stealth in addition to some action, cover shooter. Looks great. Feels like some type of combination of Uncharted and Metal Gear Solid kind of put together all into one, and maybe even a little bit of like Jason Bourne or like Watch Dogs, some hacking and certain tech stuff as well. So I'm looking forward to playing through the game. It'll be my first 007 game in quite some time, as 007's been MIA for a while. So what do you guys think about the new Glacier engine and what IO Interactive had to say about the Nintendo Switch 2? Let me know in the comment section section below. But before we move into the next topic, please make sure you hit that subscribe button if you are not subscribed yet. We do have a 3 digital code giveaway for Donkey Kong Bananza that we're giving away on July 17th, launch day for the game. So if you haven't subscribed, check out the link in the description below. All the details there. Go vote on the community page and enter in for a chance to win. Hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, and let me know what you're looking forward to most when it comes to 007 First Light. Now let's go ahead and jump into the next topic here, guys. And we've got some information on Donkey Kong Bananza, because there was a massive interview which I've been kind of breaking down a little bit by bit in some of my other videos down here at this point. So Donkey Kong Bananza, it looks like this isn't going to be it when it comes to what they're doing going forward and the perspectives. We know that this is the first 3D game since Donkey Kong 64, 25 years ago or something like that. It's been a while since Donkey Kong 64. But what about 2D Donkey Kong games? Well, it looks like Nintendo still wants to do those. They want it to be something similar to Mario, where you have the big mainline Mario 3D games, but then also the great 2D games like Super Mario Bros. Wonder. So here's what Mr. Murukura had to say recently, quote, "Well now, in a long-running series, novelty and continuity are both important, but we wanted this title to fully convey the appeal of Donkey Kong as a character. Meanwhile, we thought that by creating something new, leveraging our experience developing 3D Mario games, we'd have the opportunity to create 2 separate branches, 2D Donkey Kong and 3D Donkey Kong, just as we did with Mario games. So, keeping in mind that this game will come to symbolize 3D Donkey Kong and the theme of bringing Donkey Kong's strengths and new actions to the forefront, we thought the concept of destruction would be a good fit." So this is something that Nintendo does quite often with their franchises or with their games. They develop a concept first, and then based off that concept, they might assign a character to that concept if it fits well. Same goes for Donkey Kong Bananza. They actually had a Goomba with arms picking up and putting things in destruction. That was the concept they were working on when they were experimenting with voxel technology and the Super Mario Odyssey engine, and they felt that, hey, this would be pretty good with Donkey Kong. He has big old huge arms and he can destroy things. He's a huge, powerful ape, so it made sense. And I love this thought process because I think it creates a gameplay focused, gameplay first narrative that's more fun than simply saying, hey, we're gonna have this character and he's going to have to make him do this or make it do that. Create a great concept, and whoever fits that concept best, put them in there. This feels natural, as if they thought about it in that way, but they didn't. And that's why gameplay first concepts and ideas always trump out anything else, and why Nintendo's still making games at a super high level with a lot of their classic franchises even after 40 years of Donkey Kong. We're still getting surprises. We're still getting new things. It still feels fresh overall, and this is how you get it done, by assigning gameplay first and foremost. So I love that about it when it comes to this interview and everything. It's just great to see with Donkey Kong, and I'm looking forward so much to playing Donkey Kong Bananza. I think this is going to be one of the best action platformers ever made, in my opinion. I think it has the ability to do that based off of what we've seen so far, some of the hands-on previews, and of course just my hype and excitement. But the final judgment will come down after I play the game myself, and of course all of you guys experience it too, for those who do want to play. So what do you guys think about Nintendo kind of doing a hybrid form factor of 2D and 3D? I think that there's still a lot of opportunities for 2D Donkey Kong to have its reinvention, just like Super Mario Bros. Wonder, where you have a new art style, a different style of gameplay, new things kind of brought in. There's still more gameplay ideas that I think they can bring to 2D Donkey Kong to make it fresh and fun, just like they did with Super Mario Bros. Wonder, and how that felt completely different from pretty much every other 2D Mario game when it comes to the style, substance, and flavor, but then also kept that familiarity of, okay, this is 2D Mario. So I think that there's definitely opportunities and room for 2D Donkey Kong to do that as well. And I'm going to be very interested to see if they give that to a separate or a different type of team within Nintendo to get 2D Donkey Kong done, because that's usually Retro Studios who handles that, but they might be done with Donkey Kong at this point. So what do you guys think about what Nintendo had to say here about Donkey Kong and going forward 2D, 3D, and the gameplay? Let me know in the comment section below. Next up, we're going to move into some more Mario Kart World, and it's kind of crazy when we talk about the different ideas that Nintendo has for their games. And just like Donkey Kong, where they thought of a gameplay concept first, this is what inspires Nintendo to do some of these wacky things. So apparently, Mario Kart World's controls was inspired by the devs' love of extreme sports on their lunch breaks. I kid you not, guys, this is what's going on here. So if you're wondering why Nintendo has everything like going off the walls like Tony Hawk Pro Skater and grinding and all that, well, it's because they like extreme sports games and grinding and like the X Games or something like that. So here's what Nintendo had to say recently about the controls of Mario Kart World and where they got the inspiration from. Quote, "We even have some staff members who go skateboarding or ride their bikes outside of the development team's office building during lunch breaks." According to Yabuki, the programmer who was in charge of vehicle controls is actually an avid fan of not only cars, but also sports like skateboarding, snowboarding, and surfing. Having experienced many of them firsthand, the programmer implemented a lot of the elements of these sports into the game in order to make the character controls feel smooth and satisfying. And this makes perfect sense when it comes down to it, because that's essentially what you're getting like with some of the physics in the game, the grinding and how you can kind of balance and go from there, or the wall riding kind of felt like Tony Hawk Pro Skater or something. Even though those are tough, obviously, to do IRL, you can't quite do it like they do. They make it more fun, but it still has that same type of flair, and that's what you would expect. I mean, that's what I would expect. I was thinking somebody loves extreme sports when it comes to this, because wall riding and grinding the way that they did it, that's definitely skateboarding. And myself, I used to skateboard back in the day. I used to bike, skateboard, rollerblade, all of that, but I really fell in love in skateboarding around the time, I think that was around 12 or 13, and I skated for many years and did so many different tricks and fell and all that different type of stuff. I was so into Tony Hawk Pro Skater and all of that back in the day, and I still love skateboarding to this day. I just don't skateboard anymore, but I can totally see the DNA of that in Mario Kart World and what they wanted to do with it. So it's just great to kind of have some of those stories come out from how they implement certain gameplay ideas, from what they like, from some of the stuff that is out there in their own personal enjoyment. Miyamoto's been famous for that over the years, and of course many devs implement different things that they do like into their games. So it's just cool to see that from Mario Kart World. So what do you guys think about that? You can let me know in the comment section. But now we are going to circle back over to Donkey Kong Bananza and what is going on, because there was some interesting discussions online. Some people were saying that Nintendo took inspiration for Donkey Kong and his redesign and everything from Wreck-It Ralph, which, I mean, maybe, but probably not, because now we have the actual idea of what happened with the redesign of Donkey Kong and where it came from. So apparently Donkey Kong's design in Bananza was inspired by the Mario movie and Mario Kart World. So here's what Nintendo had to say on that in a recent interview, when the interviewer was asked, saying, "Hey, well, what about the design for Donkey Kong and the upcoming Donkey Kong Bananza? The design, it's definitely different. Looks like the Super Mario Bros. Movie, and in Mario Kart World, like, what's going on there?" And here's what Mr. Murukura had to say. "That's correct. Donkey Kong Bananza sparked the creation of a design which I think better conveys the new Donkey Kong," and I could not agree more when it comes to the facial expressions and the style and more of the cartoony flair that Nintendo's games are kind of going for, at least with their newer titles. Like with Donkey Kong and with Mario Kart World, they went away from having more of that sharp looking, more futuristic, to more of the cartoony and expression, and I would say zany type of look with Mario Kart World, and now with Donkey Kong Bananza, to convey like that silliness and to convey, I would say, what they're trying to do with the movie, what they're trying to do with the games, with Donkey Kong Bananza and the destruction and what it does. It just fits that style more, and it completely makes sense once you see Donkey Kong running around when it comes to Donkey Kong Bananza, and of course how he was in the movie as well. It just kind of aligns better. The older Donkey Kong style didn't, and that's not to hate on the old Donkey Kong style. I think it's great, but as soon as I saw Donkey Kong in the Mario Bros. Movie, I was like, wow, I really like the way that Donkey Kong is portrayed, and I want it to kind of line up overall. And I think that Donkey Kong Bananza and the gameplay in there more suits what Donkey Kong is actually when it comes to his character and his strength, in addition to how he is in the movie. So it just makes sense with the redesign, with the game, and what they're trying to do. But that doesn't mean old Donkey Kong is bad. I still got a lot of love for old Donkey Kong, but this new one clearly has the style, the substance of what they're looking for when it comes to the games and how they're making it at this point with the tone and style and with the movie, of course. So what do you guys think about all of this big new Nintendo Switch news that we went over? A lot of interesting things overall. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. All right, guys, that wraps it up for this video here. Thank you so much for watching. I do appreciate it. Please make sure you hit that like button, subscribe if you're someone new, click that notification bell, and check out my other Nintendo Switch 2 RPG content and more right here on screen. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you guys for the next one. Peace.